Welcome to Versus on the Mountain. Hope you're enjoying the Louisville UNLV game. I'm Marius Payton. 20 years ago, the start of the men's college basketball season saw the UNLV Running Rebels at the top of their game. The year before, Jerry Tarkanian made a deep run into the NCAA tournament, but still, the Rebels were just one piece shy of making a title run. That all changed in the 1989-1990 season when Tark brought in Larry Johnson. However, there was still a question of chemistry.
The only concern I really had was we had 5 starters back and went to the Final 8. One of the 5 was not going to start. We knew that. Everybody knew that. Larry was the top junior college player in America, and he was good enough to start for any team as a freshman. So my concern was, how was the one guy who didn't start, how was he going to handle that? And a lot of it was depending on what type of person Larry was. And when Larry first came to town for the summer, we got him a job at the Sporting House. And the very first day the TV cameras came and interviewed him, and I'll never forget this. And they asked Larry, everybody's saying, now that you're here, you're going to make the difference and this team will move on to the Final Four. And I heard Larry say this and I couldn't believe it. He said, I'm so happy to be here and be part of this team. He said, I watched them play on television every chance I got when he was at Odessa. He said, they're such a great team. He said, I'll be happy to help them any way I can. If I have to come off the bench, I'll be happy.
I remember how unselfish Larry was. I remember media day and asking Larry, well, how are you going to fit in? There's 5 starters back. You won 29 games last year. Larry said, you know what? I'll just be the best 6th man in the year. And I think it just says what Larry's all about, and was just really special. And everyone knew there was a huge part for Larry, but for him to come in, and as a coach now, when your best players are among your hardest workers, and when your best players are among your best teammates, and they're as good as these guys were, you've got something really, really special.
You look at the players we had and what they did when they left. You know, we weren't like the Michigan Fab Five or the UCLA teams or the Carolina teams with Jordan Worthy and Perkins, but I don't know if anybody played better than we did. That was the key. I mean, we were a unique team that played great defense. We led the nation in field goal percentage shooting wise, and we were not a great shooting team. If we had any weakness, it was our shooting. We only had one pure shooter, and that was Anderson Hunt. And but we had just a great all-around team that was so unselfish and had such a great attitude. And we played harder than anybody in America. We practiced harder and we played harder, and that's what made them a great team.
You want to say something, Larry?
Yes, I'm hearing all this, Larry, no, I can't have it. I can't have it. I've seen these games, man. I come here, and then sometime on ESPN, and what you do with tapes, you focus on yourself, right? When you watch tapes, these dudes carried me. They absolutely carried me, man. This dude, they carried me. I'm telling you, I watched that, and like Coach, and Greg had it right when we started. I was definitely in the top 6 or 7 as far as defensive players on this team. You know what I mean? And every time when we pressured defense, this man pressured defense, it was my man that would get the outlet pass. So all the thing I had to do on this team really, man, was get the ball in the paint and score. And I couldn't pass it to myself. These guys passed it to me. And if he wasn't hitting the jumper and he wasn't hitting the jumper, they was going to sag down in the paint. When I watch, I'm telling you, I go back and I watch the championship game and all that, man, I had the easiest job on this team.
Watch this play by Anderson Hunt, number 12. Greg Anthony's in the picture.
Oh, yeah, them guards.
Jump ball. Yeah. Jump ball, Greg.
Well, they didn't get a lot of blocks throughout the whole year. So to get 2 blocks over one.
We got steals. We weren't getting
they didn't get a lot of blocks.
But that was great effort, though, by us to get back. And that's really true. That's one thing people don't appreciate how, and I don't think any of us appreciated how much Coach focused on defense till we got to UNLV. Because I'll never forget my sophomore year after I wanted to quit because I didn't think I could physically do that. I was 19 years old and my knees would hurt. I was wearing knee sleeves, but he conditioned us mentally to be able to deal with it. And Larry went through it when he first got in.
Well, I fell out. You know, that's what you want to say. That's what you want to say. But I fell out. But he wasn't there. He couldn't take that heat.
We never talked about winning the game. All we talked about was getting prepared physically, mentally, emotionally to play as hard as we were capable of playing. And that's what we did. We just played harder than anybody in the country, game in and game out. And I had coaches would come up to me and they would marvel at the effort our guys made in every game, on every possession, and that's what made them a great team.
That's just a small taste of what you can see on a new special we have coming up on the mountain called Teams to Remember, the 1990 UNLV Runnin' Rebels men's basketball team. The show will debut on the mountain on Monday, March 1st of 2010. It's an hour-long special taking us through the team's run to its first ever national championship. You'll hear from the starters, Larry Johnson, Greg Anthony, Anderson Hunt, David Butler, and sixth man Moses Scurry, as well as Dave Rice and head coach Jerry Tarkanian. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marius Payton. Let's get you back out to the Thomas and Mack and game announcers Tim Neverett and Roland Williams.